Hey guys, welcome back to wemetatacme. I'm so excited for this episode because it is the best relationships come to those who wait, part 5. I can't believe we've done now 5 of these. It is my favorite series that we do, and I'm so excited to get into your stories. I haven't read any of these ahead of time because I like to surprise myself and kind of read them along with you. So let's get right into it. Hi, first and foremost, your family is beautiful and sending you so much love, and also thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. After 7 years of living and dating in NYC, I found your podcast. Slowly but surely, I implemented the rules and started to learn to have higher standards, detach, and recognize things and guys that didn't align with my values. 2 years into listening and 9 years of living in New York City, I had finally decided to move back to Boston. I found an apartment, settled on a neighborhood, and was scared to make the jump. After a string of bad dates in a month, and at the age of almost 37, I went on a date with a guy visiting New York City from Boston. Oh, wait. I guess visiting New York City from Boston? Maybe she went on this date in the city? Okay. It doesn't matter. I was exhausted from dating, had high standards, but essentially expected nothing. I did break the rules and went to dinner and drinks, which turned into an 8-hour date. I thought it didn't count because he didn't live in New York City. As much fun as I had, I didn't really think too much about it given my experiences and heartbreak. Other than that, I followed the rules through and through. Not to play games, but to keep myself grounded. Oh, I love this queen. It turned out he lived 2 blocks away from the apartment in Boston I had already signed for. We started dating and did long distance until I moved in January. Okay, so she met him in New York. He was visiting from Boston. Got it. Even seeing each other every other week, Boston to New York City was seamless. It was never a struggle. A year and a half later, we've moved in, shopping for rings, and I couldn't be happier to wake up to him every day. I believe God gave us each other at the perfect time. I had almost lost hope given I was 36 and felt like God had forgotten me at times, asking my mom, did he forget to make my soulmate when he was making everyone else's? Finally, I realized that he was waiting all along until we were both ready. I can't imagine a better fit for me. He is kind, funny, hardworking, thoughtful, and handsome is just a plus. I'm so grateful to the universe and people like you who inspired me and instilled hope when I felt I had passed my mark. I once thought I wasted my years working hard and getting my doctorate to end up alone, but now I realize I was waiting for someone I couldn't even have imagined. What God had planned was so much better than what I wanted. I have been ghosted, cheated on, and even left in Italy, but now I know all of that was worth it. I hope this helps someone who has given up hope and feels it's too late. I almost didn't go on our first date, and I'm so eternally grateful I never gave up and that I did. Thank you. P.S. I've ran into you on the street once when I caught a guy I was dating and exclusive with on another date, and you told me I deserved better, and you were so right. Oh, that's so cute. Wait, they are stunning. I mean, she sent pictures, so I feel like if you're in the YouTube, like, do you see this? Oh my God, they're so cute. Wait, they're literally models. Like, what? I love that story. Okay. Hi, I have a story for your next The Best Relationships Come to Those Who Wait episode. I had been following the dating rules, downloaded, deleted, and re-downloaded again all of the dating apps. I had mentally come to terms with the possibility that there wasn't someone out there for me, that I would be the fun single friend, the auntie to all my friends' kids, and a workaholic. After a particularly stressful and draining year of work, a friend suggested I try a yoga retreat she had been on a few years prior. It looked like the perfect retreat to do solo, so I booked immediately. I got there a few days early and wasn't planning to stay through to the full retreat, but I met some nice people at the communal meals and the classes were great, so I thought about staying longer. On the night before the retreat officially started, I showed up to dinner and only one other person was there, a guy who looked to be about my age. We ended up having a 2.5-hour dinner, just the two of us. I remember thinking to myself during his dessert, wow, this kind of feels like a date. I wonder if he's single. The next day, he immediately found me and we started hanging out and talking by the ocean, eating meals next to each other, and taking all the classes together. It felt like I had known him for years. All of the other retreat participants arrived and asked if we knew each other. It had been one day. It felt like how I imagine Bachelor in Paradise or Love Island contestants feel when you spend so much dedicated time together without the external factors like phones, work, etc. You can build a connection so quickly. I noticed he did the little things like get me water when he was getting water for himself and bringing my stuff up from the beach. My love language is acts of service. I remember texting a friend that I had met a guy who was just my type and said that he made me feel comfortable and safe. After a day or two, a new retreat friend played matchmaker since both of us were too nervous to ruin our retreat experiences if the other person didn't feel the same way. Thankfully, we both did, and we officially shared our feelings on Christmas/first night of Hanukkah. We lived in different cities, but we knew this could be something, so he booked a trip to visit me after the retreat. Being together at home felt the same as the retreat, and I knew he was my person almost immediately, watching him work in my living room. We dated long distance for a few months, and then I moved to the city he lives in. I found out I was pregnant in October, and we had a small wedding in November with a bigger extravaganza happening at the end of March. I hope this story helps others who are in their 30s that are worried that they will never find someone. I was 37 when I met my guy, and I'm glad I didn't settle. People told me I was being too picky, but I felt like I knew what I wanted and was just not finding it. And those who think the late 30s is too late to have kids, it certainly is not. Oh, I'm obsessed with this. I love this so much. And what I love so much about this one in particular is that she was a yes person. She was just in her yes era. Her friend was like, come to this retreat. And she was like, sounds great. And I'll come solo. You just never, ever know. And it's always that random last minute extended invitation somewhere or, something that you had never done before. It's leaving your comfort zone where you find that person. And it might not be exactly where you find that person, but the fact that you're in the mindset that you're willing to leave your comfort zone, that you're willing to say yes to whatever it is, that will help you. I love that. Hi, I want to anonymously share my testimony. At 29, I found myself fresh out of a 5-year relationship and suddenly surrounded by friends who were either married or having kids. Naturally, I panicked and dove headfirst into the dating pool. I was on a mission, going on at almost one first date per week, over 45 dates over a year, if you can believe it. Eventually, I hit a point where I thought, you know what, let's just have fun and stop stressing. And of course, that's when the story gets good. I don't send likes on Hinge and figure if a guy likes me enough, he'll initiate liking me and I won't have to do anything. So a man I had passed on Hinge 3 times, just waiting for him to like me, finally commented on my prompt. I had asked, what's your favorite number on my profile? And he answered, yours. Worked like a charm. That's such a good setup. I went on a date with this amazing guy and we instantly clicked. But here's where it gets wild. We later found out that I was actually named after the hospital he was born in, and that hospital was more than 4 hours away from where I was raised and where we currently live. Such an invisible string. We also discovered that the 4-digit passcode to his phone was my passcode backwards, each a different significant date to us. It was like the universe was giving us winks left and right. After 10 months of dating, we're engaged. We've set our wedding date for next spring, and we're excitedly planning our future together. It's been quite the journey, and I'm just thrilled how it turned out. Have fun and let these guys come to you. Love that. But I will say it's also okay to send a first like on Hinge. But yes, hopefully he will send the first one if he likes you. Hey, Lindsay, here is my submission. I was 33 and living in Chicago, about to make a life-changing decision to move back to my hometown and move in with my parents. I was navigating a full career transition, which included a lot of travel, and I have a dog and I needed some help. This was not an easy decision for me, as most of my friends were having multiple children and it felt like a step back in life. Little did I know that it was all in perfect alignment with what was meant to be. I preemptively set my location on Hinge to be near my parents 2 months before I moved. I happened to match with a boy that grew up 25 minutes from me. The best part is he was also living with his parents. He was on dialysis and then had a kidney transplant in 2024. He is perfectly healthy now, but he moved home for help. We bonded over living with parents in our mid-30s, and the rest is history. Our love is absolutely the greatest thing I've ever experienced, and I cannot be more grateful for our story and the time it took to get here. By the time we met, we were both extremely comfortable with ourselves and proud of who we had become. We were both dating with intention, which we established early on. We had the most fun together, and for those wondering, yes, we are super close with each other's families, which had been such a blessing. Because we were a little older when we met, things have moved quickly and comfortably, and we are getting married on October 3rd this year. Hope this can help give you another episode. They're some of my favorites. So cute. Love that. And I think that's a real lesson, and don't be afraid to move. And don't be afraid to change your Hinge location or your dating apps locations before you move. And also don't be afraid to change the dating app locations even when you aren't moving. Mess around. See who's in another city. If it's 2 hours from you, you never know. Your husband or wife could be there. You just never know. Hi, Lindsay. First of all, congratulations to you and your family on the arrival of sweet Daisy. Oh, your podcast has meant a lot to me, and I'm so excited to submit this. Hopefully someone can draw hope from my story as I did from past episodes. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you. I met my now fiance at 31, and I truly believe the timing was perfect. Throughout my 20s, I was in an emotionally abusive relationship that slowly led me to abandon myself. I forgot my passions and dreams. I distanced myself from family, never a good sign, and even moved across the world to support his dreams without a ring. Big mistake. I was convinced that he was it for me. There were red flags such as him telling me I had to change aspects of myself for him to love me, and concern from family and friends, but I had to learn the truth for myself. The relationship ended shortly after I turned 30. His mom broke up with me on his behalf. Looking back, this is wild. Yeah, that is fucking wild. I was devastated. I didn't know who I was without him, so I took time to find out. I reconnected with the people I had pushed away. I moved back home. I got a new job and my own apartment. I traveled solo to places I had always dreamed of visiting. For the first time in years, I was building a life just for me. It was scary, but I have never been more proud of myself. The old version of me couldn't have imagined how good life could feel. Even now, thinking about that season makes me emotional. Me too. That's like really beautiful. I found your podcast during that chapter, and it will always hold a special place in my heart. I still listen every week. Your The Best Relationships Come to Those Who Wait episodes were always my favorite. They truly brought me hope. I'm so excited I can now share my story. About 10 months after the breakup, I felt ready to start dating. I didn't have much experience, and putting myself out there absolutely terrified me. But with support, I did it anyway. I downloaded Hinge. I went on a handful of dates. Some were fine, but not a match. Some were truly terrible. As an introvert, I was getting exhausted and discouraged. A few months in, I told myself, one more week of swiping. If I don't meet someone, that's okay. I'll have an amazing single summer. Then one night, he popped up. Our messaging was steady but calm, nothing over the top. He asked me out for drinks the following week. The first date lasted 2 hours. Again, nothing wildly cinematic, but we both wanted a second date. The second date was different. I always say this. That's when we really connected. We realized how aligned we were on the things that mattered. That summer, we slowly got to know each other. I never once had to question whether he liked me. He showed me through his actions. Our relationship has felt easy in the healthiest way. Hard conversations bring us closer. I feel chosen, respected, and loved for exactly who I am. In our first year together, we traveled to Europe, moved in together, and started talking seriously about our future. He is the kindest, most patient person I have ever met. We both feel so lucky to have found each other. I now know I deserve a love this good. Through it all, your podcast remained a weekly date I kept with myself. In November 2025, he proposed in the most us way possible, quietly at home. It was perfect. We're now planning our dream wedding for February 2027, just after my 34th birthday. If you had asked me in my mid-20s what my life would look like at 34, I'm not sure what I would have said, but I know it wouldn't have been this good. My family loves him too, which makes my heart so happy. Everything I thought I lost in my 20s, myself, my voice, my joy, I found again. And this time I found love without losing any of it. I'm obsessed. P.S. I've included a picture of us for you. If you wouldn't mind, please keep this to yourself. Okay, fine. I can't share it. But they are so adorable. And I'm obsessed with your hair, if you're listening. Oh, I'm obsessed. Okay, hold on. I need some water. Okay, and we're back. Okay, loved that one. Hi, Lindsay. I'm writing in for your The Best Relationships Come to Those Who Wait Part 5 episode because waiting is what finally broke my cycle. Growing up, I was very cynical about love and marriage. My parents divorced when I was 2 and are now both on their third marriages. Thankfully, it seems like they both finally got it right this time. Because of that, I never believed relationships really lasted. In high school, I avoided serious dating altogether. Watching close guy friends cheat and disrespect their girlfriends confirmed my belief that emotional investment simply wasn't worth it. Instead, I stuck to friends with benefits situations, and that always worked because I truly never actually wanted more. In college, that changed. At 19, a one night stand turned into a relationship that moved way too fast. We moved in together, did long distance after he graduated before me, and during that time, I was spiraling into alcoholism. After I encouraged him to go on a trip, he cheated on me, unprotected, and told me after we had sex. I still tried to make it work. It didn't, and I walked away, again convinced that all men are trash. Over the next several years, I repeated the same patterns: relationships fueled by alcohol, ignored red flags, misaligned values, and me not being honest, especially about my drinking. By 28, I hit rock bottom. At 29, ugh, the fucking ambulance in the middle of the story. No, it's not your fault. Okay. At 29, I got sober, started therapy, and actually being honest in therapy. Lol, what a concept. And this helped me actually learn how to be alone, stop putting others above myself, etc. By 30, I was genuinely happy on my own and thriving. I made lists of how I wanted to feel in a relationship and my non-negotiables, and I stopped forcing dating. At 31, my sister set me up on a blind date. It was my first sober first date, and I went in with zero expectations, just seeing if I wanted a second date. 2.5 hours flew by. He didn't make me feel weird about not drinking, and he asked thoughtful questions and made me feel calm and safe. This April, we'll be together for 2 years. We moved in together after a year and a half, but before moving in, we went over our ideal engagement timeline and other important discussions again. Since at 33 for me and 37 for him, time is a factor that cannot be ignored. Love that. We both share the same values and goals, and a couple of months ago, I found the list I'd made, and he checked every box and more that weren't even on my radar. Sometimes I wish we had met sooner, but the truth is, if we had, I wouldn't be ready. I wouldn't have been ready. Waiting meant getting sober, healing, and learning who I am. The best relationship came not when I was searching, but when I finally was okay being alone. Thank you for sharing these stories. I love this. I mean, this is the epitome of what you hear and you kind of like roll your eyes, but you know it's true and you know you need to do it, which is that you have to work on your shit before you meet someone. And by the way, that doesn't mean that you can't meet someone. You might meet someone that's on your level. You know, if you don't want to work on your shit, you could easily meet someone that's on that level that you're at right now. But if you want to meet someone that's on the next level, you need to work on your shit. You need to heal from your shit. And I always talk about this. I would never have met my husband if I hadn't leveled my life up, like gotten sober, you know, been loving my life, loving my job, had an apartment that I loved, that was my own, that was nice and like welcoming. You know, it's like it's everything. And again, like you could meet someone, but if you want to meet someone that you deserve, you know, then you have to be deserving of that person because you have to be at that same level. And we talked about recently, I think last week or the week after, the week before is AMA. I always say before Stephen came into my life, I was saying, you know, someone would be lucky to be with me. Like that was my mindset. I was like, I have so much to offer. There's got to be someone out there that's deserving of what I have to offer. I wasn't going around thinking, oh, you know, I hope there's someone out there that can offer me something. Like, you know what I'm saying? My energy was that I knew my worth. And I love that her energy was, I was finally okay being alone. And that is when it happens. It really is. Okay. I spent much of my 20s worried I wasn't going to find my person, leading me to spend too long in relationships that weren't ever the right one. I actually broke off an engagement at 28, and I was so, so, so scared, but I knew I needed to for the future I truly wanted. Fast forward through a lot of therapy, a round of egg freezing, and a lot more dating. I met the most amazing man at 31. I was feeling so relaxed and optimistic about life. I had tons of amazing travel planned, and I loved my job. He and I just clicked. Good conversation and deep conversation are non-negotiables for me, and talking with him made me feel like I was coming alive. The more I got to know him, the more I fell for him. I truly believe I couldn't have dreamed him up because I would have thought it was unrealistic for one person to actually to have all of these amazing qualities. He supports my career and isn't threatened by my success, even though I actually make more than him. He is ambitious and hardworking. He maintains amazing friendships and keeps up with his family. He's the most incredible cook. I could go on and on. We both felt the pull very strongly and fell deeply in love. We actually agreed we should try to slow down and let the dopamine fade before making any major decisions. 2 years on, we're still waiting for the dopamine to wear off, but we're getting married in May, and I cannot wait to spend decades with him. We still both feel like the luckiest people in the world for having found each other. When I express how crazy it is that he was still single and available when I was, he tells me I just hadn't met you yet. It's the most beautiful relationship I've ever been in, and it was worth every minute of angst, longing, and heartbreak to wind up with him. I love this, and also love your name, such a special name. That reminds me of is it Michael Bublé song, I Just Haven't Met You Yet? Okay. Hi. So I listened to your first episode of Best Relationships Come to Those Who Wait. And it was actually sent to me by my best friend. And I always had it in my back pocket to listen to when I was sad or down about dating. And it really pulled me through some dark times. So now that things have massively changed for me, I'm so excited to see that it popped up on Instagram for your next episode. And I can share mine. For me, I dated a lot through my 30s post-COVID, 33 to 36. I was one of those girls who always had a new dating story to tell, all pretty terrible. But I tried never to lose hope. I always put myself out there, always tried to say yes, joined all the sports teams to meet new people, but I just never met my person, and it was so frustrating and tiring, especially when most of your girlfriends were married or on their second child. After 4 months of dating a textbook narcissist that I tried very hard to convince myself was the one, he broke up with me. I took myself to therapy and made a list of things that were important to me in a partner, and I vowed to not get into anything serious until I found those qualities. Fast forward to the summer of 2025, and the mantra was to live summer like it was my last single summer, as quoted by the same best friend. I said yes to everything and booked a lot of trips, including one to my best friend's wedding in Greece. And then it happened. At the wedding in Greece, I was reunited with a couple that used to live in my city but had moved back to the West Coast. Obviously, catching up meant discussing my love life, and they let me know they had a guy in mind who lived out on the West Coast with them that they thought I'd love. As usual, I gave out my number and didn't think twice. But he messaged, literally while I was still in Greece, and we didn't stop. He was kind, endearing, and funny, and we FaceTimed the minute I got home. We spent 2 months chatting and getting to know each other and talking all deep things and personal before we had even met. He was so open with me. I knew I liked him, but I was nervous because we didn't live in the same city. So what would meeting in person be like? I was willing to take the chance. He came to visit in August in my summer of yes, and I just knew he was special. He was everything every guy I had dated wasn't. And on top of that, he was tall and had a full head of hair. Lol. I am 5'8", so the dating pool was pretty crap for me, and also 36. We just had never stopped talking or seeing each other. Lots of fights cross country were booked. I went to visit him in October. We did Christmas together in December, where he met my family, and then in February, we did a trip to Mexico City, and that's where he proposed. Aww. I'm moving this summer, and I can't wait to start my life with him. I never thought it would happen for me at 38, and I'm so glad I was able to keep saying yes and stay open to the amazing things my future had in store for me. Oh my God, I love them. She didn't say not to show the pictures, so I'm going to show you them. They're stunning. Everyone is so beautiful. I love this. And also, I mean, I have so many thoughts, but this is just the perfect reason why. First of all, the idea that you tell yourself, this is my last single summer, this is my last, whatever you have to do to make yourself truly enjoy something and like live it up, because you really never know. Like it was her last single summer, but it could have not been her last single summer. And still saying that she would have been able to enjoy it as if it was. I also love the idea of talk to people at weddings, talk to people, maybe not on the subway, but talk to people more than you think that you should talk to people, because they don't know you. They don't know that you're single. They might have wanted to set you up with their brother. This person obviously, this couple wanted to set her up with their friend. You just never know. And her being so willing to go to this wedding, to talk to a couple, to not think like oh, I'm single at a wedding, I'm just going to keep to myself, or it's so hard. Like, you have no idea what the world has to offer you, but you're never going to experience that if you shut yourself off. If you talk to people and you open yourself up, that's when you get things back in return. So I love this story so much. I'm just going to check and make sure there isn't another one, because, oh, okay, we got another one. Yay. Okay. I am 35 now, but when I say I started to look for my husband 20 plus years ago, I am not exaggerating. I was so boy crazy and always had a crush and was always envisioning a future with every guy I got involved with at all. If I wasn't in a relationship, I was so depressed about it. But I was also super picky, and it felt like I could never find the right match. I wanted a lifelong partner so bad, and I would envision the romance and everything leading up to the wedding. But when I actually thought about the idea of being husband and wife with any man, I really couldn't imagine that it would live up to what I was yearning for in a relationship. I just could not mentally picture a man giving me the partnership I dreamed of. Around the time I turned 30, it was COVID, and a bunch of my closest friends by that point were in queer relationships. I was so jealous of their partnerships. I literally was like, it seems like it'd be so nice to date a woman. Maybe I could try it and get into it. And one of my friend's girlfriends was like, if you feel like you'd have to force yourself, it's probably not for you, which made me a little indignant, to be honest. I started thinking of myself like maybe I'd be a little bit hetero flexible. Like maybe I could be interested in a woman, non-binary or trans person who was more masculine presenting. The summer after college, I'd watched The L Word and had been absolutely googly-eyed for Shane. If you know, you know. I was really hesitant to actually go through with anything because I didn't know if I'd actually end up liking it, and I didn't want anyone to feel like I was treating them like an experiment. But finally, later that year, I got up the nerve to go on a date with a woman. When she asked me if I dated many women before and I admitted that this was my first time, she was so excited for me. It was really sweet and made me feel like I could really explore my own interests with her. Suffice to say, I was definitely into it. A few months later, after things had ended with her, I was dating again and finding myself mostly interested in pursuing relationships with women. My sister brought me to her coworker's birthday, and I thought she was super cute. The three of us even went out for another drink after, and we had so much fun, but she was clearly hung up on a girl that she'd been recently dating. A week later, I went on a date with a girl from Hinge, and we really hit it off and started seeing each other. A week after that, my sister had a housewarming party, and I told her I was going to bring the Hinge girl. She was like, "Are you sure? My coworker is coming, and didn't you think she was so cute?" And I said, "Yeah, but clearly hung up on someone else, and I really like the Hinge girl, so I'm pursuing it." Long story short, I ended up dating the Hinge girl for almost 2 years, but she and my sister hated each other. To be honest, my sister was justified because it turned out she was actually really just not a good person. By the end of our relationship, my sister was regularly updating her coworker on what was happening with us and asking her if she'd be into me when we finally broke up. I did finally break up with Hinge girl a week before what would have been our 2-year anniversary. Coincidentally, on the coworker's birthday. My sister texted the coworker, "Happy birthday. My sister finally broke up with her girlfriend." A month or so later, my sister orchestrated a night out for all of us to go to a queer bar party, and beforehand was very much nudging both me and the coworker separately, asking if we'd be into each other. She and I pretty much ended up being attached at the hip all evening. We'd continued to run into each other over the past couple years and always enjoyed catching up, so it was easy and fun to hang out again. Finally, with the encouragement from my sister and some liquid courage in my system, I made a move to kiss her, and it was truly fireworks. That was almost 2 years ago, and now we're designing our engagement rings and planning our proposals. Yes, I do wish I realized I was gay sooner so I could have had more of the joyful experience of queer dating and less of the soul-crushing experience I had of straight dating. But ultimately, no matter what I had to go through to get me here, to get me to her and our forever together was undebatably worth it. TLDR, the best relationships come to those who wait. And if you think being queer just sounds like it would be so nice, but you never thought about it for yourself, you should really just try it. I love that so, so, so much. And that's such a good note to end on. This was a little shorter and sweeter, but I think every story was perfect and just inspired by all of them always. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that we have enough stories for the next one.